Welcome to Might in Motion, where we help you navigate your personal and professional goals to manifest them into your deserved career and life path. Here at Might in Motion, we don't make excuses, we do the work and go above and beyond. The Might in Motion podcast brings you guests that will help stretch you out of your comfort zone and push you to improve your goals. Like, comment, and share. This is Might in Motion.
Today, I have the privilege to welcoming Anna Tyler, founder of Hard Charger Coffee, to Might in Motion. If you don't know who she is, let me tell you, she is a coffee roaster. She's the owner of Hard Charger Coffee. She's a Marine Corps veteran. Hoorah. I love that very, very much. And she's got a podcast. Start to Be Great is the podcast. She's a gym junkie, a healthcare escapee, challenger for all things you thought you were once scared of. Hey, Anna, how are you? Welcome to Might in Motion.
Well, thank you.
I am so stoked to have you here. And I know, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for your service. You've got a fan base because Katie's saying she's a badass woman.
Thank you.
And Katie, thanks for posting that. As a reminder, if you are joining us live, either on LinkedIn or via Facebook, you should be able to enter in comments and questions. I'll be able to see it on my screen. We'll try to weave it into the conversation today. So you are now part of a live recording of a future podcast, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So Anna, we met probably about maybe a year or so ago, maybe 8 months or so ago.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with your story and what decisions you were making in your life and transitioning. And so maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about you, how did you go from being in the Marine Corps to roasting coffee in your garage in Texas?
That's a long gap in there. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 17.
Wow.
And so it was like, I don't know what to do with my life. And I always wanted to be a badass. And so I was like, let's go full send. I was a lot more fearless then than I am now.
Yeah.
And I was in the Marine Corps. I had actually planned on staying in and retiring. Like that was my goal. My uncle was in the Vietnam War. He's a Marine as well. And I don't know. I just like, I wasn't one of those kids that grew up and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like what I wanted to do was be a Marine.
Yeah.
And so I had an injury when I was in and I didn't get discharged because of it, but I wasn't able to do my job to the best of my abilities. So I bowed out.
Yep.
So I got out and kind of dabbled. Just did I snowboarded for a couple of years, just wasting time, having fun. I was an assistant range master at a gun range.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I decided to be responsible and grow up a little bit and go to school to be an x-ray tech. So I used up the last little bit of my GI Bill and did that. And I did that for about 7 years. And the end of the 7 years was all of the, COVID stuff. And so that was pretty much my cue to be like, and I'm done. That was not what I wanted to live my life doing.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first moved back home after the military. Well, I'm from Seattle. And they have these things. Have you ever heard of a bikini barista?
I have, actually.
Yeah.
I have not done the drive-through to get my coffee from a bikini-clad barista, but I have driven by one.
So some of them are pretty raunchy. Bikini is a loose term. I would say that they more so are wearing like lingerie. Pasties and a thong is normal.
Yeah.
I was joking when I moved home. I was like, man, I should open up a bikini barista stand. I'd make so much money. I was like, or I could do a dude one. And
Hey.
the point of that is I was just like, I was dreaming and I was thinking,
Yeah.
and then as soon as I said it, I was like, nope, it's never gonna work. I'm not gonna be successful. Like, it's too hard. I have no idea how to do that. I was in my 20s and I gave up on whatever that dream was.
Yeah.
And so now, years later, when I was like, healthcare is not the way, I'm like, you know what? It's maybe time to dig back into that dream. And before opening my own stand, I wanted to learn the other side of it on the making the coffee process. And so I don't know if I'll end up doing a stand. That was my original intention, was to do this part first and then, start kind of similar. I mean, Black Rifle just did it too. Like, they were only online and now they have like little shops popping up.
They do. Yeah.
Which is great because Starbucks needs competition.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? Who knows where it's going to lead? I like the idea of just keeping it fluid and letting it kind of come to me as I go through the motions. So
it's interesting to me that you talk about how, after the Marine Corps, you were a little bit lost, right? And you sort of found your way, right, in the healthcare industry, but you were still living in a little bit of a state of fear. And now you legit have just said, you know what? I don't want to be in that sphere anymore. And you're starting to do things that you're afraid of.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's not just like, hey, let me go roast some really, really cool coffee and quit my 9 to 5. Right. You're doing a lot of other things that are a little bit fearful for you.
A lot. Yeah.
I will not ask you to dance on this, just so you know. But whenever we see each other in person, I will definitely invite you to dance.
By the next time I do see you, that I will have conquered this fear and I will ask you to go dancing. That's my goal.
So what's kind of inspired you, especially, you hear about a lot in your Start to Be Great podcast, you and Kimmy talk about this a lot, but what's inspired you to start just going after your fears full force?
I think I was just kind of realizing that I was not being fully honest with myself. And as I am challenging myself to grow, I'm like, okay, yeah, this stuff's kind of scary, but like, am I really digging deep into my past, like the things that terrify me? Or am I just doing something that's socially scary? Like, a lot of people find it scary and intimidating to quit their job and move across the country. A lot of people find it very scary to adopt a family member. A lot of people find it very scary to start a new business.
Right. And you know what? I'll just comment. You inspire all of us to do things that scare us. I listen to your podcast on the regular, and you have me questioning, what do I need to do that's scary?
Well, and the thing is those things didn't scare me that much. I grew up in a family where we moved all the time. So moving across the country is no big deal to me. I've done it before. I'm not scared of starting over.
Yeah.
I am scared of dancing. And it's not the dancing that bothers me. It's digging deeper into why.
Yeah.
It's why do I feel so uncomfortable being feminine? Why do I feel so uncomfortable in my own body, putting myself in a situation where I feel vulnerable? Why do I feel vulnerable dancing when so many people view it as fun? There's a lot of questions that I'm challenging myself to ask myself that I wasn't doing before.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And I'm sure that you mentioned, you have an adopted daughter, that's a family member, right? And I'm sure she sees you doing these things. Do you see in her kind of where she's emulating your ability now to start going after her own fears?
I think that I really do believe that things happen for a reason. And I used to doubt that I was the right person to be her parent and take care of her. But the longer that we are together, I'm certain that she's in the exact spot that she needs to be, and that we both need each other.
Yeah.
And that she came into my life at exactly the time when we both needed it.
Yeah.
And that it's going to bring great things for her. I'm excited because she is allowing herself to dream again. You know, I don't know if she had ever done that before.
Yeah.
The things I hear her saying about her future, it makes me feel excited because I want everything for her.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know with her past, like how she would have felt about going after it.
Yeah.
Had she been in an environment where it was able to be nurtured and kind of, you know, presented in a way that it was possible.
Yeah. It's, it's tough. I mean, I have two little girls. They're much younger than your daughter, but you see it even at a young age where as girls, we kind of, we doubt ourselves, and sometimes there's that mean girl mentality. We've all seen the movie Mean Girls, right? And we've all experienced it. And even, a first grader and a third grader experiences them as, high schoolers as well. And as adults, sometimes we see it, right? What I love, and we were talking about this in the green room, as I like to call it, before we went live, is that through these connections and meeting you, in a mentor coaching group, and you've introduced me to other women. It's so cool that we're creating this network of really strong women that are able to embrace challenges to go change things in our own lives. And so, like, I just want to thank you for what you're doing, what you're saying, and what you're putting out there, because you're inspiring a lot of folks. You really are.
Well, thank you. It seems like silly because I'm like, what, me? I'm just a girl.
Yeah, but you've taken some really brave steps, and like leaving a really steady job to go after a dream is really, really cool. And I will tell you, like, so I had this here. I don't have endorsements. I said this earlier, but I freaking love your coffee. I think I posted this on social media when this came in. I just come back from a trip.
Yeah.
And it's like my favorite box to open when it shows up at my house. So thank you for that. Highly recommend it. So you also talk about, that you're also riding horses now, and you've competed. So can you share us a little bit about that experience and what's drawn you to the horse riding community?
Sorry about the jiggling of the camera. My dog is rubbing her butt on it. I'm like trying to pet her to like calm her down.
That's okay. Like,
if I'm walking like this, it's because America's rubbing her butt on it. So, I started, there's a equine therapy place near me. And so they work primarily with children with disabilities, but they also work about 10% is with veterans.
Nice.
And so they offer 3 free 8-week horsemanship classes for veterans. And you learn how to ride a horse, you learn how to groom them, and just feel more comfortable around them. And I can't tell you how many times I've cried and been frustrated doing that. I learned a ton.
Yeah.
And my instructor, Stephanie, she's been great. She was telling us about this competition for veterans. I wasn't even going to try out. And she's like, you got it. And I'm like, I don't. I'm like, I'm so new. Why would I try out for that? This is the girl that won it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't even know. So that just goes to show what our doubt will do to us, right? Allow it.
So you have a big belt buckle now? Is that how that works?
They're making it.
Wow, that's cool.
So they're making it custom. I guess it's like a couple $100 belt buckle. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And at the rodeo that I was at, I met a woman who's a veteran. She retired and she's in her early 60s, and she has 3 horses. And she was like, I need someone to help me ride like literally every week. Cause she's like, I can't ride 3 horses multiple times a week. Like, I'm 62, like that's just a lot of work. So she offered me, and I was jumping at the bit to do that. And so now I did one more competition with her. It's a trail ride. It's a little bit different. Wanted to throw up that morning. It was very outside my comfort zone. Because again, I've been riding horses for less than a year.
Yeah.
So I just feel very new and very uncomfortable. Like there's a lot I don't know. And so I'm just kind of like chucking myself in there. Of course, now I want to own horses.
Right.
But it's been fun. And you know what the crazy part is? So have you ridden horses?
I have, not professionally.
Right.
But I've done like trail rides and stuff on vacation kind of deal. Yeah.
So when you're riding a horse, your hips are moving with the horse.
Yeah.
And that's the exact point of like frustration I'm having with my dancing.
Wow.
And so I was being called to learn how to dance while learning this skill. And I got to the point in horse riding where I'm like, to be really good, like I need to figure this out and to get comfortable and like learn to loosen my hips up in order to be good at both.
Right.
And so like, you know, for a second I was like, do I really need to learn how to dance? I'm like, am I just pushing myself for stupid reasons? And I was like, no, like this actually makes sense. Like it ties in. And I don't believe that's a coincidence. I don't believe in that.
No. So. And I love the fact that you went there with a veteran, type group, right, to go and learn and help heal, right? So my husband's a veteran, and when I see him in those moments when we've been places with horses, you can see, and he's a former Marine as well. So, there's a kinship there. But you can see how it softens so much when you're around these magnificent beasts, right? And it's the same thing with other animals, but I think if there's something about horses that as a human we connect with at a different level.
Yeah. It's almost like it brings us back in time to just like I don't want to use the word primal because of Liver King anymore, but but it kind of does, like that connection, like those cowboys and they would just be riding with just a man and his horse.
Yeah.
And it's like something about it. And, they didn't have all the schools and people to train them. Like you had to connect and you had to build that trust with your horse.
Right.
And so I think that's a really big, that's something that's helping me a lot, I think, is the trust thing. Because I would show up to the horsemanship classes and, they tell you, they're like, horses can sense everything. They're like, they can feel a fly land on its butt. They can tell when you're pissed. Or when you're sad. They can tell. And so I would come in and like, I'd put on like a fake happy face because I was stressed out. Like I started doing it when I was quitting my job. And so I would go in there and the people would be, none the wiser as to how I was doing, but the horses knew. And so there was many nights where I was frustrated because they were responding to my tude, and then in turn made me more frustrated. And I was like, it's because of what I brought. And so I had to really check myself.
Yeah. That's like being with a really good therapist.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately you can't call the horse, but or text it. But it's almost like better because they can't talk back to you. You're just getting you're getting the emotional response back, which allows you to heal emotionally. It's that whole cycle. And
and then you gotta figure out what the problem is on your own and just sort it out.
So can you tell us maybe a little bit about your Start to Be Great podcast? What inspired that? And, what do y'all typically talk about?
Yeah. So it's funny because I started with Kimmy, who is, I haven't had a best friend since I was a teenager, but I would literally call this one of my best friends. She's awesome. And I'm almost a decade older than her too. She's 26. And we haven't known each other that long. I think we really started hanging out in February of last year. So I think it was August. She got back from a trip. And I had thought about doing a podcast, but I was just like, I would get was just a quick thought came in, and then my other stuff was like, nah, shut it down. And she came back from her trip. She had like taken a little mental break, timeout, vacation, whatever you want to call it. And she came back and she looks at me and she says, we should start a podcast. We had never talked about this before. So I didn't tell her that I was thinking about it.
Right.
I had told other people, but I didn't tell her. And so when she said that, I was like, done. That was my sign. And I was like,
nice.
And so we've committed to doing it for a year. So I think we started late August or early September. So we committed to doing it at least for a year, and then we're going to touch base and see, like, do we still like how everything is going, and are we enjoying this still? So we're doing one a week on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. bright and early for everyone that wants to start their week off with some knowledge and, you know, us bullshitting.
Yeah.
The podcast is called Start to Be Great. And I love the quote, you don't have to be great to start something, but you do have to start to be great. I think that people, you know, people want to be perfect. They want to have a plan. They want to know what exactly to do, especially women. Yes. I think women really want to know A, B, C, D before they start. And it's like, you don't need to. You need to know, A, take one step. And so if anything, I hope that like the stuff that we talk about encourages people to believe in themselves, try things that they've wanted to try, and let go of that perfectionism ideal and just live their life how they want to live it and figure it out along the way.
Yeah. One of the things that you've said on the podcast a few times is, how does this serve you? Or how does this serve me? I think that's a really great question for all of us to ask when we're coming up to maybe a big decision, or if we're starting to really be aware of our own, I don't want to call them demons, but our own stories that we tell ourselves, right? Like, I'm not a dancer, or I'm not an athlete. That was my big story for a very long time, right? And so I love that y'all take that approach and you hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
To that question.
Yeah, I heard a few people use that and it really hit me, and I was like, ugh, because one of the things I'm going to do actually starting tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to do like a whole year of weird, scary stuff every month, but for the month of February, I plan on, I'm not a hugger. So that tells you what my plan is.
Do you have to hug at least one person every day? And does it have to be a different person?
I'm going to hug everyone that I encounter.
Strangers included.
If I'm meeting you, if I'm saying hello to you, I'm going to hug people. I'm not going to jump over the like grocery line, like, you know, but like if I'm at the gym and someone's like, yo, I'm going to go in. I'm going to be like, yo, bring it in here.
So it has to be a full-on front hug, not a side hug, right? You're going to have two arms around. So you talk about wanting to know details. Obviously, I just dove right into details I needed to know.
One good breath, be present for one good second, hug them, and be intentional with it.
Yeah.
I used to have my friends and my coworkers used to attack hug me. And you know, people say, they're like, I know you don't like hugging, so I didn't go in for a hug. And I'm just like, I don't want to be that person. And the same with dancing. I don't want to be the person that sits glued to my chair and is terrified to get on the dance floor, because what if the man of my dreams asks me and I'm still terrified?
Right.
You know, I don't want those things to hold me back from life.
Yeah. I love that. So I have a question that I ask every single one of my guests.
Okay.
And so if you've watched a prior episode, you know already, but if you haven't watched it all to the end, you could go back 10 years and talk to Anna 10 years ago. What advice would you give her?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it would be to stop doubting myself and to hold on to my strengths and know that those only get better and shine light away from my weaknesses, and which those will suddenly not matter as much anymore. And that it's okay to make those mistakes along the way, but you just got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to dive in. I love that. It's hard to hear that advice though sometimes.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't have listened.
But you're probably thinking, man, how much further along would I be right now if I had just put on those damn pasties and served some coffee at the
Oh, no, I wasn't going to wear them. I just wanted to hire people.
I mean, if you really want to jump into your feminine, as someone who did burlesque at one point in her life, wearing a set of pasties will get you into your feminine really quickly.
I do own a pair, but I've never worn them. I bought them for like a boyfriend like 10 years ago. I like never wore them.
Maybe that would have been another piece of advice for your 10-year-old, not 10-year-old, but yourself 10 years ago. Just wear what you bought.
You know, my March goal is to do a boudoir shoot.
Yes.
I'm terrified of. I don't want to do it at all. Like my one stipulation is it's going to be a woman, and no one else is going to see the pictures.
Oh yeah, totally. You know, like Leandra is fantastic, and
She's like where she lives. Where does she live?
She's actually I know we're kind of changed the topic here a little bit, but apparently she will be traveling multiple places to do one-on-one shoots. She was just talking about that, and I think her podcast. And I'm going to her retreat in March. So, you know, if you want to join, I'm just saying she might have one spot left. But if not, she might come to Texas. You never know.
Okay. I'll have to reach out to her. That's a good idea.
Yeah, highly recommended. It's terrifying, yes. But it's really empowering. Yeah.
That's what I keep hearing.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be for anybody else but you. That's the beautiful thing of it. It's not this. Yeah. So I'm all about like, how do you embrace your feminine? How do you go into that space? Because many times, especially you're a CEO, you're a founder, you're doing all the work, right? And so how do you switch out of that like kind of masculine space into that feminine space to attract the energy that you want is so critical.
Yeah.
So
work on it. I'll figure it out days.
We're all a work in progress. So
absolutely.
So what are, you know, we always end with taking action, right? We should not, if you've learned something here, if you've gained something from this insight and you want to hear more from Anna, what's the best way for people to reach you, follow you, and learn more?
Yeah, I have more interaction on Instagram. I open that app more often than I open my Facebook, but I technically have both. So my Instagram, you can either do Hard Charger Coffee or Americana, AMURICANNA is my personal Instagram account. My podcast, Start to Be Great, is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We do have a YouTube as well. The video quality is all right. We're new, but it's there. And then my website is thehardchargercoffee.com.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the time today. This was fantastic.
Thank you for tuning into Might in Motion. If you learned something about motivation, momentum, mindfulness, or might, please like, comment, and share. Thank you.